Hey, this is US Jack, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about the 2020 election. My plan was to be at the polls at 6 a.m. when they opened. Well, that was my plan. I actually got there at 9 a.m. The place was packed, but I was in and out in 15 minutes. I was at peace knowing that I had voted, but was a nervous wreck the entire day and tried my best to keep myself busy to stop myself from thinking about the election. That night, watching the news, tracking the votes, I was filled with anxiety and dread. The map was showing so many red states, but then I remembered not all the votes had been counted. Mail in votes were the key. Because of the pandemic, states looked for ways to extend access to citizens on how they voted, either by offering absentee ballots, voting by mail, or early voting. 46% of voters voted by mail. A majority of those votes were for Biden, 58%, while 32% of those votes were for Trump. The election was on November 3rd, and on November 7th, the longest 4 days ever, Joe Biden became president elect after winning the state of Pennsylvania, a battleground state. Battleground states, also known as swing states, are states that could be won by either presidential candidate of the Democratic or Republican Party and have been swung back and forth over the years. Presidential candidates know the importance of these potential votes, so they pivot their campaigns in those states. Battleground states play a big role in competitive elections. The battleground states in 2020 were Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Iowa, Michigan, Minnesota, Nevada, New Hampshire, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Texas, and Wisconsin. Trump won 5 of the battleground states, which were Florida, Iowa, North Carolina, Ohio, and Texas, totaling 106 electoral votes. Biden, on the other hand, won 8 of the battleground states: Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Minnesota, New Hampshire, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, totaling 93 electoral votes. You need 270 electoral votes to win the presidential election. Remember, there are a total of 538 electoral votes in the entire country. With this win, history was made, with Kamala Harris being the first woman and Black and South Asian American elected vice president. Also, 66% of voters casted a ballot in the 2020 election, increasing 7 percentage points from the 2016 election. Now, Trump, being the sore loser that he is, tried suing the swing states that he lost in, which were Arizona, Georgia, New Mexico, Michigan, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, over ballot/voter challenge and counting procedures. Those cases were either closed and dismissed and went with the original conclusion that Biden won the election in that state. After November 7th, every day in the news, Joe Biden became president elect again, and I was like, I get it, you get it, we all get it. The only person who didn't get it was Trump. Trump refused to concede and tried multiple ways to stay in office and overturn the election results. He wanted Mike Pence to overturn the election, which would have been the undemocratic thing to do. We'll get back to that later. Trump tried to prevent swing states from certifying Biden's win in those states. He failed. Trump tried to appoint new electors, failed again. State legislators refused to vote on electors and appointed the electors whose parties won in that state. Pence also refused to acknowledge Trump's alternative electors. Trump and his supporters started to spread false information and lies as to why he lost the election. Trump's team claimed that the voting machines had been hacked to change votes from Trump to Biden, and then that the election had been rigged. With all the theories being debunked, it had become clear that the election was fair and the people voted for the president that they wanted, Biden, not Trump. Trump also tried to use the Justice Department to overturn the election, again failed. Days after the election, Trump declared that he was the winner in states that he had lost in and said that the election had been stolen. He began holding Stop the Steal rallies across the country. On December 14th, the Electoral College made Biden's win official. And what else? Oh, another caveat. Trump wanted to stage a military coup. He wanted the military to seize ballots and voting machines, to prove fraud, and to overturn the election results and to do a do-over of the election. This plan was not put into action, but it's sort of scary that this plan was even thought of, though. It's just saying. Trump and his supporters were using the hashtag #StopTheSteal all across social media. Trump then, on December 19th, Trump endorsed a rally in Washington, D.C. to coincide with the counting of the electoral votes on January 6th. He tweeted, "Be there, we'll be wild." Things come. Trump's team then turned to January 6th, where the Constitution requires that the electoral votes be read aloud during a joint session of Congress by President of the Senate, the Vice President of the United States. They then held the theory that Pence could overturn the election and reject Biden's votes. I don't know why they did that. On January 5th, the country experienced a lull, with no charges being brought against the police officer who shot Jacob Blake 7 times in the back, leaving him paralyzed. The country was also on edge because of the Georgia Senate runoff election, again a battleground state. This election would determine which party would control the Senate. The two Democratic candidates defeated their Republican opponents, which gave Democrats control of the Senate. But the upset is that Joe Manchin, a senator from West Virginia, is a wolf in sheep's clothing that has been siding with the Republican Party. So, then on January 6th, Epiphany, aka Three Kings Day, Pence issued a statement. His view that his constitutional oath constrained him from acting unilaterally to choose electors. Next thing you know, the insurrection happened, with Trump supporters storming the Capitol trying to stop the steal, when in turn they themselves were trying to steal the election. Watching how the day unfolded, it looked like a scene from a movie. I couldn't believe my eyes. People around the world and around the country were in shock and horror. Staging a coup, inflicting violence, could not and would not keep Trump in office. With that being said, the 2024 election is coming right up. Make sure you're registered to vote and make your voice heard. US Jack signing out. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.